यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita. We are just undergoing a summary of 14th chapter. The name of the 14th chapter is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. We have seen a complete meaning of it. But the chapter which has got one more in-depth meaning is Gunathita Viveka. Then we can say that this chapter consists of two kinds of topics. So one is Gunatraya Viveka, the knowledge of three gunas. Then another is Gunathita Viveka. Viveka means knowledge of a person who is beyond three gunas. Now from verse number 5 to 18 we have completed the knowledge of three gunas in 5 various topics. What are they? Lakshana, Bandhana Prakara and Linga, Gatihi, Phalam. Then Arjuna gets a question. Okay, if it is so, what about Gunathita? Then Bhagavan gave the Gunathitasya Lakshanam, the knowledge about Gunathita, in which Bhagavan Krishna says, Janma Mrityu Jara Dukkaihi Vimuktaha Amrutam Ashnute. He is liberated. He is freed from all these physical phenomena, the impact of three gunas. What are the impact of three gunas? First impact is birth. Then the birth continues to have all kinds of modifications. Birth, and it indicates the growth which leads to the modifications which leads to the decays, the decay which leads to the death. So all these kind of modifications, and underneath there is a sorrow, longing for something, craving for something, to get rid of those problematic experiences. That's what we call it life. Life is consisting two kinds of efforts: to escape from the problems, to get into the pleasure. Dukkhasya nivrittihi sukhasya praptihi edadeva samsara lakshanam. Samsara means, which is going to be explained very elaborately in the next chapter, by giving an example of people tree. Samsara vriksha. Vriksha means a tree. Samsara means the problems which we find in our life and the sufferings which we are going to experience or we experience. That suffering is known as samsaram. That samsarat nivritti. This person, the knower of Brahman, the knower of the self, who has become Gunathitaha, gets rid of this impact of samsara. Then what? He attains amritatvam. Amritam ashnute, experiences that immortality. That's what Bhagavan said from verse number 19 and 20. Then Arjuna wanted to check with his own self. Therefore he gets the question. That's what we saw in the last session itself. In the summary itself we saw This question is very important for Arjuna as well as for us. Because once you learn about Gunatraya, definitely you will be having interest to get rid of problems which is caused by Gunatraya. So all these three gunas alone causes for the problems. And one more thing I tell you, when you understand your systems are owning three kinds of characteristics, and these three gunas alone which have been evolved as the world, this is a kind of parameter. So our buddhi can use this parameter. When you drive a car, there is going to be a monitor. In that monitor, the speedometer also will be given. So nowadays in a car, in India, when car crosses 80, there is 170 ting on alarm. That alarm indicates you are crossing the limit. Like that, our system also, when it shifts one guna to another guna, so buddhi should become awareful, alert, and there must be some kind of alarm should be fixed by our buddhi. When your system is endowed with tamoguna, immediately you should become very careful, because the tamoguna will tie me with what? Drowsiness, ignorance, and it will make more problem than rajoguna. If my system is endowed with rajoguna, it will be allowing me or making me to crave for achievements. Then I should become very careful. If my system is endowed with sattva, then I can bless it. I don't say allow it. You can bless it. Yes, let it be, let it be. So then we should know how to shift. Still we have the steerings. That steering is known as free will. You can make effort. Every year we go to have a checkup, complete checkup of our body. Nowadays it becomes a passion. The knower of the body will become aware what is going in the body. We should get that much awareness. No animals go to have a regular checkup. And all doctors will be, annoyed with me when I say this. But still, I'm not against medical science. Medical science is a very great science which are found. Any pati, allopathy, homeopathy, or naturopathy, all pathis are very useful. They are very useful. We need to get more improvement in that. So for that we should have more and more prayers and meditation for that. But when it is regarding about your health, you should be aware, isn't it? Because we are indwelling the body. We should be aware what is going in the body, or we should be aware what is going with our system. In our mind, what kinds of thoughts are I'm getting nowadays? Are they tamasic? Are they rajasic? Are they sattvic? So you have to have the parameter. That parameter must be utilized by our buddhi. Buddhi should become as a device by which you can measure what guna is going on. Okay? So when we get this ability, capacity, your life definitely it is going to be successful. And one more thing, there are so many books have been written in order to achieve the success in our life. Everyone would like to have a successful life, not knowing the parameters, the norms of successful life. I can tell you, when you become successful in materialistic aspects, those success are not considered as a success at all. When you become successful in spiritual aspects, then you will be definitely successful in material aspects too, I tell you. And this is a kind of wrong understanding. Once you enter into the spiritual, you have to leave this materialistic world. It's not like that. Krishna was a very successful man. Don't you recognize? Don't you realize by studying Krishna's words? Even he was so successful than others when he was ruling his kingdom. and suggesting all people. When there was a problem for Draupadi, he was the one who helped completely to her. Like that, when you follow the spiritual aspect, like that, when you adapt spiritual things in your life, definitely you will be successful in material aspects too. But this knowledge must be utilized by us. Therefore, the question from Arjuna is valid for Arjuna, and it is very valuable. It is also valuable to us. Who is Gunatitaha? What is conduct? And what kind of fruits that he will get? What is sadhana? Sadhana means how to get it, how to become Gunatitaha. Then Bhagavan gave the answer from verse number 22 and 23. So there he said, the person who has crossed over Gunatitaha, who has become aware about these three gunas, and who is aware about the real Swarupa. And he puts a kind of indication. Without the knowledge of self, if you become aware about these three gunas, you can be a successful driver, but you cannot be a successful Yajamana, the owner of the car. That's your choice. To continue your life as a driver, or to begin life, or to convert life to become a owner. The knower of Brahman makes a person to become aware about Ishvara, to identify with Ishvara himself. Then he can be a successful man who makes the driver to drive. Buddhi is a driver, Ahankara is a driver. But we have to be alert. We should not be victimized by Ahankara. Now, Ahankara, which is endowed with what? Prakasham, Pravarti, Moham. These are all impact of what? Gunas. Prakasha means complete clarity and peaceful mind. And not only that, entering into Dharma in relaxed way. Brightness. All these things are impact of Sattva Guna. If you are aware, okay. Then, if I want to allow, you can allow. I mean to say, when your system is indicating they are in Sattva nature, better allow them to maintain the Sattva. And the next one is Pravritti. Pravritti means, you want to jump into something where the competition is on. That's your choice. World is full of competitions. If you want to jump into the competitions, you have lots of field, business field, political field, and what is that? Cinema means media. All these things, they are endowed with competitions. Or you can be relaxed. Sattva person don't jump into competitions. Tamoguna, if your system is endowed with Tamoguna, it will express all kinds of inactivity, the interest in inactivity. That person who has crossed over three gunas, he won't be affected by these three impact. He won't like or hate. When Sattva Guna is seen, he won't become proud, haha, I am a Sattva Guna person. No. He will just carry on with that. That Sattva Guna will be utilized for Dharmakari. When he gets Rajoguna, he won't hate or like it. But if there is a need for Rajoguna for some kind of job, he will utilize it. And also Tamoguna also. The gunas come, will go. They will take place and they will be going away. The person will be identifying himself with the Sakshi. That is what the condition of Ajnani. So by learning these words, what we will come to know, the Jnani, always sitting and watching. By learning this, what kind of imagination we will get of a Jnani? A Jnani who will be sitting with closed eyes and observing what gunas are going to come. Now I am in Sattva Guna. I should not hate or like. Then now I am in Rajoguna. I should not hate or like. No. He will be endowed with mundane, normal activity which is governed by dharma. Okay? He will be endowed with those activity, but inside he will be very awareful, and he who is established in Brahman will be more awareful or will become more awareful about the gunas. Okay? He won't be victimized at any point 24 into 7. Even during sleep also, he knows that is sleep. Sleep is what? Tamoguna, the impact of Tamoguna. Okay? He will use them. This is a kind of expression, but it's very difficult to explain a quality of a jnani. These are all can be given as a general norms, but that has to be experienced personally. When you live with a jnani, you will definitely experience them. Then he becomes indifferent to all. Udasina vadasinaha gunaryo na vichalyate, who is not shaken by the characteristics. Gunaha gunavartante ityeva yovatirthati nengate. It's a final stage, according to prarabdha. If he is having some duties in the society, he will be doing that. Otherwise, will be sitting like Ramana Maharshi. Just, with contemplation. Okay. Then the second point of Gunatita is Gunatita Acharaha, the conduct of Gunatita. So he will be maintaining his buddhi with samatvam. He will be having equanimity in his mind. All kinds of, when people abuse him, he will be maintaining the peace of the mind. When people criticize or praise or abuse or torture him, but he will be responsive, but he won't react. He will maintain the peaceful things. He knows nothing comes beyond our karma phala. He will be bearing that with peaceful mind. Gunatita upaya means bhakti is a main tool for knowledge. That was given by verse number 26. Then in the last verse, Bhagavan gives one more knowledge. That entity which is beyond gunas is nothing but me. It means what? When we become aware about that entity which is experienced in the form of I, we become Ishvara. We become Ishvara means we could identify ourselves with Ishvara. We are Ishvara. Then what would be the benefit? The benefit is whole Prakriti will be functioning according to me. It seems to be too much, isn't it? No, that is true. When you are able to be governed by dharma, I mean your complete system, when you become the knower of Brahman, you become Brahman. Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati. Brahmavit param apnoti. All these sentences, they look mystic. There is nothing called mystic. The consciousness is the center point of the universe. When you are able to identify with that consciousness, then you become the center of the universe. But you should know how to handle your system thereafter. That operating system will be continued. This is not like a dream. Once you come to know that dream is dream, then dream world will be gone. But here, in the waking state, when you are able to understand this world is nothing but three gunas, and this world, the reality of this world is equal to dream world, this world won't be gone. It will continue. Narupamasyeha tathopalabhyate nanto nachadina cha sampratishtha will be explained in the next chapter. After Brahma Jnanam, after the realizations, the world will be continued. The body will also continue. We will be having all kinds of hunger, thirst, and all kinds of emotions also will be taking in our mind. But the person who has become awareful about that supreme entity, he won't be bothered, but he will have a life, the life which is endowed with joy. Bhagavan has said, Navadvare pure dehi sukhamaste sukhambasi sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukhambasi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. He will be having a joyful life being in this limited body itself. Now the final sentence is going to be the impact of 14th chapter. 14th chapter teaches us the person who can have unlimited life into limited body. What does it mean? He will be having unlimited happiness with the limited system. That is what is known as the life of Gunatitaha, the life of Ajnani, the life of a wise person. That's all. We have completed the 14th chapter. This is said very clearly, the infrastructures which are given to this education, which is known as Vedanta, cannot be shaken by any other science of the world. The science, doesn't matter how progress we get, every day there are huge progresses, great progresses are taking place, but no science can beat, because this is the foundation of the science. Gunatitaha, who can have a complete 100% joyful life being in the mortal body, that immortal life. That is the goal. Then the next chapter, let us begin now itself, but we will travel from next session, okay? Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha Atha Panchadashodhyayah Purushottama Yogaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulamadash-shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. The most important chapter of Bhagavad Gita and well-known chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When you hear the chanting of the chapter, people will remember. You will remember food, but here not we are going to serve the food, but here the served thing is the great food for our life. What I mean to say, before meal this 15th chapter is chanted. After chanting, immediately we get the food. But after understanding this chapter, what we will get, that will be the great food, will get the nourishment for whole life. Okay, that's what the impact we will get out of the 15th chapter. We will begin from next session. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.